Welcome to another edition of Bearcats All Access. I'm your host, Marshall Kramsky. The UC men's basketball team, they've been on a tough skid recently, but they have a chance to get right here on the court at Fifth Third Arena on Sunday against West Virginia. Head coach Wes Miller, as always, joins the show and talks about what it's going to take to get right. All that plus so much more coming up on Bearcats All Access right now.
Bearcats All Access, sponsored by All Good Home Improvements.
Obviously, a tough three-game stretch, 3 losses in a row. What do you say to your team leading up to the West Virginia game to try to get out of this rut?
Well, first off, it's the next game, and it's an opportunity. The greatest thing about our league is that every night is an opportunity for a quality win. You know, West Virginia is that opportunity. But we can't get too caught up in the next opponent. We have to continue to I think the biggest opponent for our team is ourselves. We have to continue to improve on the offensive end of the floor. We have to get back to being the defensive team that we've shown we're capable of being consistently. We have to rebound. I was pleased with some of the effort plays to dive on loose balls. That's a step in the right direction. That's what it's supposed to be. But pursuing balls off the board has to get better. We have to focus on ourselves and try to collectively play 40 minutes of basketball at the level that we're capable of playing in all the important aspects of the game.
When you talk about effort, one guy that has come up time and time again over the last 2 seasons has been Jizzle James. We saw him against Utah have 18 points. Seems like the lid was starting to come off a little bit for him. What are you seeing out of Jizzle as the season progresses?
Yeah, I think he's finding his offensive rhythm and confidence again. You know, I think it's important to recognize the process that some of our players are going through. You know, Jizzle's in a new role this year. He had a great start to the season within that role. He's still a very young player. He's a sophomore. And so some of the ebbs and flows are natural. Some of the peaks and valleys are natural, but I think he's finally starting to settle in to his role as a point guard, a dynamic scorer in the Big 12. I think it'll get more consistent as he goes because his work and his approach is consistent.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like there's a bunch of guys on this team that could reach another gear offensively, finding the ball go through the hoop a little bit more. How do you flip that switch as you get to the last 5 weeks of the season?
I think if there was a way to flip a switch to play our best individual offensive basketball, I'd have flipped it a long time ago. You know, I just believe in the day-to-day work, the process, and I believe that if you do that and you approach it the right way, you're giving your players the best opportunity to play to their potential.
On the court, what stands out about this West Virginia team?
I'll tell you what this West Virginia team's done a great job of. They've put a bunch of new faces together. They've meshed well. They've been able to get some really key wins that you could see has kind of propelled the belief in their team. And even with losing their best player, one of their best players in DeVries, you know, guys have plugged right into roles. But you have a lot of competitive guys on their team. They have some good older players. And again, they've done a nice job of meshing a team they put together in the spring and the summer well together.
Cincinnati's coaches versus cancer game is on Sunday. What does that message mean to you?
I've been proud to be a part of it. My mom is a breast cancer survivor. My grandmother, who's passed now, was a breast cancer survivor and did not pass from breast cancer. So cancer has impacted my family. The research, the advances in treatment, that stuff has impacted my family. And so anything that I can do or we can do in coaching to help advance the cause to eradicate this awful disease, you know, excited to be a part of that.
When the Bearcats football team needed a big play, there was one running back they'd go to. Evan Pryor joins the show coming up. When the Cincinnati Bearcats football team needed a big play in conference play last year, they looked to Evan Pryor. Pryor, in 4 of his 7 touchdowns in the Big 12, they went for over 55 yards, ultimately leading the Big 12 in yards per carry with 7.46 yards per carry. Pryor sat down with Dan Horde on the Let's Rain podcast.
Hi again, everybody, and welcome to the Let's Rain podcast, in-depth conversations with UC athletes, coaches, and administrators. I'm Dan Horde. We're joined on this episode by one of the most electrifying players in college football, UC running back Evan Pryor. Your first season in a Bearcat uniform was very exciting. You averaged more than 8 yards every time you touched the ball. How did you feel about it?
I felt great. Coming in here last January, I was just as hungry as could be, and I still am. Just have that chip on my shoulder and instilling a chip in my teammate's shoulder too.
On your very first carry as a Bearcat, you go 64 yards to the house against Towson. As you are racing down that field, is it in your mind that, this is pretty cool. This is kind of storybook to go the distance on my first touch?
Yeah, really storybook. Actually, considering everything that happened leading up until that point, me being hurt at Ohio State, facing some adversity along the way. So it was huge, man. That was a huge win. I put my best foot forward, worked hard the whole offseason with my teammates, so it was a great feeling.
You are one of several key players who elected to come back for this upcoming season. Brendan Sorsby, Dante Corleone, Joe Royer, Gavin Gerhardt. There are several others. Some of those guys had NFL opportunities. You all could have elected to transfer if you wanted to. You're all coming back. What does that say about your belief in the school and the coaching staff and the culture?
Well, I just feel like since last offseason, we set a solid foundation here on the things that we do, not only in football but in the offseason as well. Training. So. We look around at each other, even at last season, with disappointing looks in our faces, and guys had choices to make, whether it was go to the next level or leave. And I feel like it spoke volumes to our team about the guys who came back and are willing to help this team reach their goals.
What are you guys doing right now, mid-January?
Today we're introducing our workout schedule, but it got pretty real today. It was some guys over some trash cans and stuff like that. So hey, we're ready to get to it. Even when we finished last year's last game, we're getting to it next week. So we're ready.
How does that build team chemistry and camaraderie?
It builds a lot. Because you gotta kind of separate the competitiveness from guys arguing or chirping at each other. You got to keep it all teammate friendly. But at the same time, guys are out there trying to get better. So it'll be an interesting offseason, I think.
As I drove into campus today, I could look up and see that spectacular indoor practice facility that is rapidly taking shape. It is scheduled to open, I believe, in late May. Mm-hmm. So you're going to experience this during the course of your Bearcat career. What impact do you think that's going to have on UC football?
I think it'll have a huge impact. I think having your own facility, especially like what we're getting built, is just a huge plus. Being able to do whatever you need to do to become successful, whether that's training indoors, snow blizzard outside, staying around the building a little longer, getting your body right, eating, just having our own little area, to be ourselves. It'll go huge. It'll be a big factor in why we get guys here and why guys stay here, I believe.
Last year at Cincinnati, you wore the number 6. Anything to the number 6, and is that something that's likely to change?
No, I'm gonna stay in number 6 next year. I just always wore number 3. My whole career I wore 3, but I haven't been able to wear it in college. So, but with me doing what I did last year in 6, and plus my mom would be mad at me if I changed. She'd buy like 2 or 3 jerseys, so she'd be mad if I change my number. But
rightfully so. Those things are expensive.
Yeah, they are.
Stay with number 6. Well, as I said at the beginning, I think it's fair to call you one of the most electrifying players in college football. It was a treat to watch your first year. Can't wait for the upcoming season. Thanks for sticking around, and we appreciate your time.
Yes, you, Dan. Thank you.
Thanks so much for checking out this edition of the Let's Rain podcast, and don't forget to like, rate, and subscribe.
Joining us this week on Bearcats All Access, the transfer guard, Connor Hickman. We talk with the unlikely high flyer coming up.
Bearcats All Access, sponsored by All Good Home Improvements.
This week on Bearcats All Access, I'm joined by transfer guard Connor Hickman. Hickman currently out with an injury since the beginning of January, but still bringing a lot to this Bearcats team, both in the locker room and on the bench. So you've been on campus for a little bit now. What are your thoughts on being a Cincinnati Bearcat?
And it's been great my first 7 months here. Definitely a big change of pace from life at Bradley. We're coming from 5,000 students to 35,000 on campus. I think that's been the biggest change, is actually seeing, people out and about and things like that. But yeah, definitely just the change in campus lifestyle, all the liveliness, all the different events going on, especially with the football season as well. Never having been at a campus and experiencing that, it was pretty cool.
So you were at Bradley. Mm-hmm. Bradley comes in here during the NIT, and a lot of things happen. What changed for you after that game? I
just always wanted to play at the the highest level of basketball I could, and I love Bradley. I still love Bradley. Watch all their games, talk to the guys, talk to the coaches. It was a very hard decision for me to leave a place like that, but I felt, having 1 year of college basketball left, and with the transfer portal rules, I didn't want to be stuck with that, what if feeling. What if I didn't, go try to play at this level? Didn't want to have any regrets. So that's kind of what led me to coming here.
You entered the transfer portal, and speaking of what ifs, you're from Bloomington, Indiana. Mm-hmm. Could have been a Hoosier.
Yeah.
But you decided to be a Cincinnati Bearcat. Why did you decide to come here instead of going home?
I think the biggest thing was the comfortability of what was going on here with Coach Drew Adams. Having known him for a long time, he recruited me to Bradley, played for him at Bradley, and then he came here. I think just putting my trust in him, and then meeting Wes and the rest of the coaches, it just felt right.
As you've been here for a little bit now, and you're finding yourself in this program, what do you feel your fit level is with this team?
I think we're still finding it together. Been some ups and downs in the seasons, but usually the best moments come after the moments of adversity, so I think we're kind of experiencing that right now. And I think this is a group of guys that will respond, and I think when we do, we'll start clicking.
You said you always wanted to play at the highest level. Now that you're at that level, what's one thing that surprised you that you didn't know was going to happen?
I don't think necessarily anything has surprised me. I think I always kind of knew what the talent and the athleticism level was, but it's an every night thing, especially in the Big 12. There's no gimme games. When you're going to, you have an opponent who maybe is not doing as well, and you kind of know, like, yeah, that's a game we can win. There's no games in the Big 12 like that where it's a guaranteed win. Every night's a battle.
One thing that surprises a lot of people when they see you is you can jump out of the gym. Earlier this year, I'm pretty sure in a press conference, you said you were a white dude with a comb over, and that you could dunk. What was the first impression that some of your teammates had when you started jumping in the gym?
First off, I didn't know that quote was going to take off like it did. I didn't even think it was a truthful one. It's just always been the way that it is. But I think some of them knew that I was like pretty athletic, but I don't think a lot of them knew that I could do some of those like cool dunks and things of that nature. So they were pretty surprised, but also they're used to it. Most of those dudes are doing those dunks anyways too. So when you get to a certain level, it's not so much of a surprise factor anymore.
This team, the guys in this locker room, the retention here, why is that a thing here?
I think a lot of guys believed in what Coach Wes was building, and I think nowadays in college basketball, you see a team that retains its core, that usually means that something is building or something's going right there. So I think that's probably what stood out to me about them.
We're at the halfway point of the men's golf Talk Birdie to Me series presented by Wes Banco. Harrison Sims has a very special guest this week where he walks around with Director of Athletics, John Cunningham.
What's up, Bearcats? Welcome back to another episode of Talk Birdie to Me, sponsored by Wes Banco Bank. We're here at the Richard E. Linder Center, the home of UC Athletics, and this is a special episode. We're here with Athletic Director John Cunningham. Welcome to the show.
All right, great to be with you.
All right, we got a few questions for you. Ready?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do this. So you've served in many athletic roles all across the country. What has made UC so special as a school and the city of Cincinnati as a whole?
Yeah, I'll probably start with the city first. When my wife and I got here, 2 young children, great place to raise kids, obviously.
Yep.
I love the size of the city. It's manageable. You can get around. You don't have bad traffic, but you got everything you could possibly want.
Yeah.
My wife's kind of a foodie, so great food town. That jumps out at me. The school itself is just awesome. I love. We're right here in Athletes Village. And I always talk about how close everything is together, and it just creates a great family atmosphere for an athletics department that I hadn't really been a part of like this before. And then the community embraces this university and the Bearcats. We wear Cincinnati across our chest. So
yeah, I couldn't agree more. This is Talk Birdie to Me, so we're going to talk some golf.
I love it.
Some life. But here's some more quick hitting questions. So, favorite club in your golf bag?
I'll go with my 3-wood right now.
All right.
I got a new club last year, and I tend to hit it pretty well. I hit my driver way too much. I should just go with the 3-wood off the tee and keep it in play, but I just...
If you ask my coaches, they'd probably agree with me too. So, all right, well, least favorite club?
Oh, man, that's a good one. 5-iron.
Okay.
5-iron. My long iron game right now, Harrison, I need you. I need you to help me.
We can work through it together then, because I can
left
agree.
and going further left right now.
I'm opposite, so we'll meet in the middle.
Okay.
All right. Favorite course you've ever played?
Boy, you know, I'll just say Camargo. I've been out there twice.
It's a good spot.
No, 3 times now, and it's incredible. I love Camargo. I love the layout of it. Beautiful place to be and spend an afternoon. So I'll say that.
All right. Favorite memory so far as an athletic director?
I go with the Notre Dame game.
Yeah.
You know, going up to South Bend. I grew up a Catholic kid from the Midwest.
Yeah.
So to be able to go up to Notre Dame and just experience that whole environment. We took a train from Chicago down to the game with some donors. Had a great game, obviously got the win, and then got to enjoy it and travel back. And I was with my family the whole day. Yeah, that's right.
That's great.
That's right.
Thanks for joining me.
Awesome, it was great.
Yeah.
Talk birdie to me.
See you next time.
Face-off begins in 1 week against Vanderbilt. The Cincinnati lacrosse team, they get ready for a big season in the inaugural year in the Big 12.
Keys to Success, sponsored by Columbia Hyundai and Genesis of Montgomery.
This is not a rebuilding year. We are not going to waste our time and say we have nothing to lose. We're going to come out fast.
I know everyone's ready for us because we've continued to build and get better, but I think it's just a different team this year. Like I said, I think we're really emotional, so you're going to be ready for a ride and a fight. I think we do a really good job as a staff of preparing our team. I just think it's exciting. It's going to be exciting for them to be able to see it and put it into fruition on the field.
We're coming. We're excited and we're ready to play new teams, so we're preparing for you. Just be ready.
Competition on the field, discipline off. I think everything that we do, there should be a competitive aspect of it. I also think discipline is really important to me, and developing them on and off the field as people. The more disciplined you are, the better you'll end up in life.
Yes, success comes in different ways, but having success with what we're learning, getting better each game and each practice and growing in different ways. One of the main things is just not giving up and just constantly sticking together. I think your teammates are everything, so without all 37 of us, we won't be able to make anything happen. I shoot to shoot. I'm not just playing tedious or holding back at all. I always just want to win a game. I want our team to win, and whatever it takes, I'm willing to put it all out on the line for it. I want to be the one to win, and I just think that carries over, and it's been since I've been a kid. I just want to be the one to win, and I'm always just so competitive. I need to be the person that they look up to and not focus more on how I'm feeling. So I would say that is more something that I want to bring into this year. This year I really want to be a dual threat and just try and be more of an assisting threat. I feel like last year I had some struggles with getting blocked off and not being able to do certain things, so being able to add more to my game will help my team's success.
History in the making, right? I think it's a historic season for us within the Big 12. We want to make a statement this year of what the Big 12 means to us and how we're going to come in guns a-blazing.
The Cincinnati Bearcats tennis team is led by 11th-year head coach Eric Toth. The Bearcats excited to begin Big 12 play on February 28th, but before that, UC currently boasting a 3-1 record, and they have a match later today at the Western Athletic Club taking on Butler. We check in with the head coach and some of the student athletes.
I would say this team is very hungry.
Fun would be a good word. I just like being around these girls. They worked really well together in the fall, and it's, early in the spring season. They're working well together.
Every day, putting the best effort I can on the court and being the best teammate I can be.
This is my last year playing, so I want this year to be like my best year.
Tennis is a life sport, so day in, day out, what you do in your life, that's going to really help you be the best tennis player you can be.
Last year we didn't get the result we wanted, so we're like ready to like go for it and be better than last year.
We're excited and, like Z said, hungry too. I think we're all ready and we've all worked really hard, and we put in the work day in and day out.
They're very in tune with the expectations that Coach Bolton and I set. I feel they're living up to them.
Competing as a team is different. You just don't play for yourself. You play for your team. You play for your school. You play for more than just one thing.
They're all hungry. They're all there to fight and work.
I feel experience. I mean, we're still young in places, but we have more experience certainly than we did, last year.
We're excited to show people what we can do.
That's all the time we have this week on Bearcats All Access. I'm your host, Marshall Kramsky. The Cincinnati Bearcats, they tip off tomorrow against West Virginia at 2 p.m. right here at Fifth Third Arena. Make sure to tune in every week to Bearcats All Access on Saturday mornings at 11:30 a.m. right here on WCPO 9.